I never imagined that a simple error on an Airbnb reservation could completely change the direction of my life. After hours spent traveling by plane, navigating through crowded airports and bustling streets, I finally stood in front of a charming brick building in an unfamiliar city, hoping only for rest. Checking my reservation details once more on my phone, exhaustion blurred my vision as I knocked confidently on the apartment door, entirely unaware of the mistake I'd made. When the door opened, the sight of the man standing there momentarily robbed me of speech. Taller than me, perhaps in his early 30s, he had a warm, friendly face framed by neatly styled dark hair and eyes that carried an inviting kindness. He seemed a little surprised, but greeted me warmly nonetheless.
Hello, I'm Abri.
Can I help you? I smiled awkwardly, lifting my phone to confirm the reservation, suddenly unsure of myself.
I'm Sean.
I believe I booked your place for the next few days, I explained, confusion beginning to creep into my voice as I noticed a flicker of uncertainty cross his handsome features. Abri hesitated, gently taking the phone from my hand and examining the details carefully. He glanced up, an apologetic smile forming slowly on his lips. Actually, your booking is for tomorrow. I'm sorry, Sean. Looks like there was some confusion. My heart sank immediately. Embarrassment flooded my cheeks. How could I have overlooked something so simple? Feeling defeated, I began to mentally prepare myself for a night in an overpriced hotel room. But before I could voice my apology, Abri stepped closer, placing a reassuring hand on my shoulder. Hey, it's okay, he said warmly, his eyes softening with genuine compassion. You don't have to go searching for another place. Why don't you just cancel the reservation and stay here anyway? I've got plenty of space. Surprised by his unexpected generosity, I hesitated, unsure whether accepting would impose on him. Yet, there was something incredibly comforting in his presence, an ease and openness that quickly dissolved my doubts. Meeting his warm gaze again, I felt a gentle warmth rise in my chest, making the decision feel perfectly natural. If you're sure it's not an inconvenience, I replied softly, smiling gratefully as relief spread through me. Not at all, Abri assured me, guiding me inside with a welcoming gesture. It's nice having some company anyway. Stepping into the apartment, I was immediately taken by how inviting and cozy it felt. Warm lighting filled the living room, tasteful decorations and comfortable furniture, creating a sense of home I hadn't expected. We began chatting casually as Abri led me toward the guest room. His conversation easy, thoughtful, and engaging, his voice soothing my initial anxiety about my error. As he opened the door to my temporary room, Abri lingered briefly in the doorway, our eyes catching once again, creating a quiet spark of unexpected intimacy. Make yourself at home, Sean, he said softly, his smile lingering as our gaze held a moment longer than necessary. Let me know if you need anything. As the door gently closed behind him, I sat down on the soft mattress, feeling my heart beating faster than usual. A simple mistake had led me here, into the warmth and unexpected kindness of Abri's home. But already I sensed it was more than just chance that had brought us together. After unpacking my suitcase and freshening up, I made my way back into the living room, finding Abri preparing dinner in the open, warmly lit kitchen. A savory aroma filled the air, comforting and inviting, immediately making me feel more at ease. Standing there quietly for a moment, I admired how relaxed and confident he appeared as he cooked, sleeves casually rolled up to his elbows, revealing strong forearms that moved with graceful precision. Abri turned around, noticing me watching him from the doorway, and flashed a gentle smile that brought a soft heat to my cheeks. Dinner's almost ready, he announced cheerfully, setting down a wooden spoon. Hope you're hungry. Smiling warmly, I nodded, approaching the countertop to offer help. Is there anything I can do? I'd feel better if I contributed somehow, I said softly, trying to mask the nervous flutter in my chest. He chuckled, eyes twinkling playfully as he handed me 2 plates. You could set the table if you insist, though I honestly wouldn't mind spoiling you a bit. His words sent warmth coursing through me again, and I found myself laughing quietly, feeling surprisingly relaxed in his presence. We moved comfortably around the kitchen, conversation flowing easily between us, touching on topics like our work, interests, favorite travel destinations. Each story shared building a gentle intimacy that seemed effortless and genuine. Dinner was delicious, shared over laughter and stories, creating a feeling of familiarity as though we'd known each other far longer than just a few hours. With each passing moment, I felt increasingly drawn to Abri, captivated by his easy charm and genuine kindness. His warm voice and subtle smiles pulling me in deeper. After we cleared the table, we moved into the living room, settling onto the comfortable sofa, where conversation slowly grew softer, quieter, and more personal. Hey, thanks for watching until this point. Please leave a comment if you're enjoying the video. It really helps us grow the channel and reach more people. And hey, thank you very much. Let's get back to story. Abri leaned back comfortably, his arm draped casually along the back of the sofa, inviting me subtly closer. Feeling a gentle tug of attraction, I accepted the invitation, shifting slightly toward him, aware of the warmth radiating softly from his body. Can I ask you something, Sean? Abri's voice was gentle, his eyes thoughtful as he studied me carefully. Of course, I replied, heartbeat quickening slightly as our gazes locked, sensing something deeper behind his words. What made you choose my apartment? He asked softly, his eyes searching mine carefully. I mean, besides the accidental reservation. The sincerity in his voice encouraged honesty, so I smiled shyly, shrugging slightly. Something about it felt welcoming, I admitted quietly, eyes briefly dropping away before meeting his gaze again. And now I realized that it wasn't just the apartment. It was you. His expression softened noticeably, a gentle warmth blossoming in his eyes as he reached out slowly, fingertips lightly grazing the back of my hand. The subtle touch sent an electric current through me, igniting sparks deep within my chest. I'm glad your mistake led you here, Abri murmured gently, voice thick with honesty. Meeting you has been the highlight of my week, Sean. We sat there quietly for a long moment, a powerful silence wrapping comfortably around us, growing steadily warmer, charged with anticipation. Neither of us dared move, enjoying the simple yet profound intimacy of the moment. Eventually, Abri stood slowly, smiling softly down at me. Maybe it's time we get some rest, he suggested gently, though his eyes lingered meaningfully on mine for a second longer. Let me know if you need anything during the night. As he walked away toward his room, my heart raced, body tingling softly with anticipation, wondering if our evening together was truly finished or if it had only just begun. As I settled into bed that night, the room illuminated softly by the faint glow of moonlight filtering through the curtains. My thoughts drifted repeatedly to Abri. Each time I closed my eyes, I saw his gentle smile, felt again the subtle warmth of his hand brushing against mine, recalling vividly the electricity of our brief but meaningful touches. Sleep eluded me, replaced instead by a quiet anticipation, a hopeful wondering of whether he, too, was lying awake, thinking of me. After tossing restlessly for what felt like hours, I finally began drifting into a shallow sleep, my thoughts still lingering pleasantly on the man whose hospitality had transformed an unfortunate mistake into something unexpectedly special. Just as the warmth of dreams began to wrap gently around me, a soft knock at the bedroom door startled me awake again. Sitting up quickly, heart pounding loudly in my chest, I called out softly, "Come in," already guessing who stood on the other side. The door opened gently, revealing Abri, now wearing a loose-fitting t-shirt and comfortable shorts, his hair slightly tousled from lying awake. A gentle, almost shy expression adorned his face, eyes softly illuminated in the dim light, reflecting vulnerability and quiet longing. "I hope I'm not disturbing you," Abri said quietly, voice warm and tender, filled with uncertainty. "I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about you, Sean." My heart fluttered, breath catching in my throat as I slowly nodded, silently admitting I felt exactly the same. "You're not disturbing me?" I whispered honestly, motioning softly for him to enter. I wasn't able to sleep either. Abri stepped into the room cautiously, moving closer until he stood beside the bed, eyes never leaving mine. For a moment, we simply gazed quietly at one another, absorbing the meaning behind each glance, each breath shared in the intimate stillness. Slowly, deliberately, Abri sat down beside me on the mattress, his presence comforting yet electrifying, the warmth from his body radiating softly against my skin. I didn't plan this, he admitted quietly, voice trembling slightly with vulnerability. But from the moment you arrived, I haven't been able to think of anything else. Without responding verbally, I slowly reached out, gently resting my hand upon his, feeling our fingers instinctively intertwine, sparks igniting between us. Time seemed to pause, the quiet hum of anticipation growing louder in the space between our bodies, eyes searching each other's faces carefully, silently seeking permission. Unable to resist any longer, Abri slowly leaned closer, lips gently brushing mine in a tentative, cautious kiss, filled with longing and uncertainty. The initial softness quickly deepened, becoming more confident, our mouths exploring gently yet passionately, each tender movement drawing us closer, igniting powerful emotions long held hidden. His hand slowly reached up, fingertips grazing along my jawline, caressing my cheek, sending warmth rushing through me. My fingers tangled gently into his hair, holding him closer, our kisses growing deeper and more intense, filled with months of unspoken desire. Every gentle sigh, each subtle moan we exchanged, revealed how deeply we'd been affected by our unexpected encounter. Breaking apart slightly, breathing heavily, our foreheads pressed gently together, Abri murmured softly, "Are you sure this is okay?" I smiled warmly, brushing my thumb gently across his lips, whispering confidently, "I've never been more sure of anything." With my words offering reassurance, Abri's kisses became more purposeful, lips traveling gently along my neck and shoulder, his fingers exploring tenderly along my chest and back, igniting sensations that left me breathless, filled with anticipation and desire. Our touches remained gentle, respectful, yet deeply passionate, each caress speaking volumes of the emotional bond forming between us. As our intimacy grew stronger, the barriers of hesitation slowly disappeared, replaced by trust, openness, and mutual affection. We moved together naturally, guided by instinct and care, quietly discovering the tender beauty of each other's bodies. Preparations and careful foreplay brought us closer, deepening the emotional connection until we finally shared a profound intimacy that left us both feeling seen, understood, and cherished. Later, wrapped comfortably in Abri's embrace beneath the soft sheets, my head resting peacefully against his chest, I listened to the steady, comforting rhythm of his heartbeat. His fingers gently stroked my back, soothing and comforting, whispering softly into the silence, "I'm glad your mistake brought you here, Sean." Smiling softly, completely content and at peace, I replied quietly, "So am I." Morning sunlight gently filtered through the curtains, illuminating the room in a warm, comforting glow that slowly nudged me awake. My eyes fluttered open, quickly recalling the warmth of Abri's body next to mine, his steady breathing softly stirring against my shoulder, a reassuring presence that made my heart swell quietly with gratitude. A night I'd expected to spend alone had instead transformed into something beautiful and unexpected, leaving my mind racing pleasantly with countless thoughts of what might lie ahead. Feeling my slight movements, Abri slowly opened his eyes, his gaze warm and affectionate as he smiled softly at me, a subtle blush coloring his cheeks. "Morning," he murmured gently, voice still husky from sleep, pulling me slightly closer, wrapping me securely in his arms. "Good morning," I replied warmly, heart fluttering at the tenderness in his expression. The ease and comfort between us felt remarkable, as though we'd been sharing mornings together far longer than just this one night. For several moments, we remained quietly wrapped together, savoring the gentle intimacy of the morning, exchanging soft touches and occasional, tender kisses that felt wonderfully natural. Eventually, Abri shifted slightly, his fingers gently brushing my hair away from my forehead as his eyes searched mine with quiet sincerity. "Sean, I don't want you to think last night was just about the moment," he began quietly, his voice filled with vulnerability. "I wasn't expecting you, but now I can't imagine letting you walk out of here without knowing that I genuinely care about what happens next." His honesty touched me deeply, melting any lingering doubts I might have held. I gently took his hand, threading our fingers tightly together, reassuring him with my touch. "Abri, last night meant something important to me, too. I didn't plan any of this, but meeting you feels like something special, something real." His expression softened further, relief visible in his warm gaze, and he leaned forward slowly, kissing me tenderly once again. The warmth of his lips filled me with comfort, promising that the connection we'd found wasn't fleeting or superficial, but genuine and worth exploring. Eventually, hunger drew us reluctantly from bed, and we moved to the kitchen to share breakfast, the atmosphere light and playful yet still deeply intimate. Preparing food together, our movements fell into natural harmony, gentle teasing punctuated by affectionate glances and occasional caresses that spoke quietly of mutual desire and comfort. Sitting across from Abri at the small kitchen table, sipping freshly brewed coffee, my thoughts shifted toward reality, suddenly remembering the business obligations that initially brought me here. Abri seemed to sense the subtle change in my mood, reaching across the table gently to take my hand again, eyes searching mine softly. "Is everything okay?" he asked gently, genuine concern in his voice. "You seem a little distant all of a sudden." I smiled apologetically, squeezing his hand reassuringly. "Just realizing I still have to handle work today," I admitted, slightly disappointed at the intrusion of reality into our peaceful moment. "Honestly, I'd rather spend the day right here with you." His expression brightened gently, understanding reflected clearly in his warm gaze. "Well, how about we make the most of the time you're not busy?" he offered softly, eyes sparkling with hopeful optimism. "You can take care of work, and then afterward, I can show you around town. We'll make it count." The sincerity of his offer instantly lifted my spirits, reinforcing the sense of possibility that surrounded us. Smiling warmly, I nodded, accepting eagerly. "I'd love that." Later, as I prepared to leave briefly to handle my obligations, Abri pulled me gently into his arms once more, brushing another soft kiss against my lips. "I'll be here when you get back," he promised quietly, eyes holding mine sincerely, speaking volumes about his genuine desire for more time together. Walking away from his apartment, I felt a new sense of happiness settle deep within me. What started as a simple booking mistake had quickly become something far more meaningful, and as I headed out to handle my tasks, I knew without question that I'd return eagerly to Abri, feeling as though this unexpected connection was exactly what I'd unknowingly needed. The day passed in a blur, consumed by meetings and professional obligations. Yet through every busy moment my thoughts continually drifted back to Abri. As I listened to clients discuss proposals, my mind wandered, recalling his gentle voice, the comforting warmth of his touch, and the sincerity that filled his eyes whenever he looked at me. It was difficult to stay focused when my heart yearned only to return to him, to reconnect with the newfound joy and intimacy we'd unexpectedly discovered. Finally, as evening approached, relief filled me, knowing I was heading back to Abri, back to the warmth of his presence. Approaching his apartment again felt familiar yet thrillingly new, my heart beating faster with anticipation. As soon as he opened the door, greeting me warmly with a genuine smile that reached his eyes, all stress instantly melted away, replaced by the comforting knowledge that I'd found someone who genuinely understood me. "I missed you," Abri admitted softly as he welcomed me inside, his arms instinctively wrapping around me, pulling me into a comforting embrace that made my chest tighten with affection. "I missed you too," I replied honestly, savoring the quiet moment of closeness. Being held by him felt wonderfully reassuring, reinforcing my growing certainty that meeting him had been no accident. After a quick change of clothes, we headed out together into the city, Abri excitedly guiding me through the lively streets, eager to show me his favorite spots. His enthusiasm was contagious, and I quickly found myself laughing freely, feeling more alive and relaxed than I had in months. Dinner at a cozy local restaurant turned into an evening filled with meaningful conversations, comfortable silences, and frequent affectionate glances, deepening the connection we'd formed. By the time we returned to the apartment, the moon was high, casting a soft glow upon the streets, creating an intimate atmosphere as we quietly made our way upstairs. Entering the warmth of Aubrey's home felt comforting, familiar, and incredibly right, like returning to a place I'd always belonged. We settled together on the sofa again, the quiet stillness of the evening wrapping around us comfortably. Aubrey took my hand gently, holding it between his own, thumbs softly tracing patterns across my palm, sending tingles through my skin. "Sean," he began softly, sincerity evident in his voice. "I know this all happened so quickly, but I can't help feeling there's something special between us. Something I don't want to lose after your visit." His openness touched me deeply, mirroring my own feelings. "I feel the same," I admitted quietly, squeezing his hand reassuringly. "From the moment I walked in, it felt like I belonged here, with you." A tender smile spread slowly across Aubrey's lips, his eyes filled with warmth and gratitude. Without needing words, he leaned closer, capturing my lips softly in a gentle, meaningful kiss that spoke clearly of his affection and commitment to exploring this unexpected connection further. The kiss gradually deepened, becoming more passionate yet still tender, our bodies instinctively drawing closer together. Hands moved softly, caressing gently along familiar curves, exploring skin that now felt wonderfully known yet thrillingly new. Quiet whispers of reassurance, affection, and gentle laughter filled the air around us, each touch deepening the emotional intimacy we'd nurtured carefully together. Slowly, guided by gentle touches and whispered promises, we made our way back into the bedroom, moving together naturally, savoring each moment as we reconnected physically and emotionally. Each careful caress, each shared sigh, expressed clearly the depth of trust and care that had grown between us in just a short time. Preparations and careful foreplay drew us even closer, leading us into a shared intimacy that felt profound, natural, and deeply meaningful. Later, lying together in peaceful silence beneath the warmth of soft sheets, wrapped comfortably in each other's arms, a breeze softly brushed my hair from my forehead, eyes tender as they met mine. "This wasn't just a chance encounter, was it?" he whispered thoughtfully, smiling gently. I shook my head slowly, feeling completely at ease, certain of my answer. "No, I think it was something much bigger, something we both needed." Smiling softly, Aubrey pulled me closer, his heartbeat steady beneath my cheek, comforting and reassuring. "Then let's promise not to waste it," he said quietly, sincerity filling his voice. In that quiet moment, surrounded by warmth and comfort, I knew we discovered something rare. A connection built on genuine care, mutual respect, and unexpected passion. No matter what tomorrow held, tonight had proven clearly that some mistakes truly were meant to happen, guiding us exactly where we were meant to be. Morning arrived gently, filling Aubrey's bedroom with soft, golden sunlight that cast a comforting glow across the room. Waking slowly in his embrace felt deeply reassuring, and I smiled quietly to myself, savoring the moment, knowing that our time together had sparked something undeniably special. Turning slightly, I saw Aubrey was already awake, watching me tenderly, his eyes gentle, filled with affection and warmth. "Morning, Sean," he murmured softly, pressing a gentle kiss onto my forehead, fingers gently tracing along my arm in a soothing pattern. I could get used to waking up like this. Warmth spread through my chest at his words, and I nestled closer, enjoying the safety and comfort his presence provided. "Me too," I whispered honestly, voice thick with emotion, heart already aching at the thought of having to leave soon. We lay together quietly, savoring every moment, neither wanting to acknowledge the inevitable reality approaching. My departure was only hours away. Despite that, we both knew our connection had already grown deep, strong enough to withstand whatever came next. Eventually, we rose from bed, reluctantly moving into the day. Breakfast was shared comfortably, our conversations hopeful, tinged only slightly with melancholy about my imminent departure. As I began packing my belongings, each movement felt heavier, weighed down by the awareness that leaving would soon separate us, though hopefully only temporarily. Standing at the doorway, suitcase by my side, my heart tightened painfully, struggling to find words adequate to express my feelings. Abri reached out gently, taking my hand, intertwining our fingers reassuringly, his eyes filled with quiet strength. "Sean," he began softly, voice steady yet vulnerable, "I don't want this to be the end of us. I don't know how exactly we'll make this work, but I truly believe it's worth trying." Hearing his sincerity, my heart fluttered with relief and happiness. I stepped forward, wrapping my arms around his waist, holding him tightly as I whispered against his chest, "I don't want this to be goodbye either, Abri. It's just the beginning, I promise." We stood there quietly, breathing together deeply, savoring the closeness, allowing ourselves to fully embrace the possibility of a shared future. Pulling back gently, Abri reached up, cupping my face tenderly in his palms, gazing deeply into my eyes with an intensity that left me breathless. "Then let's promise," he said softly, lips brushing mine gently, "that no matter how far apart we might be physically, we'll make space for this, for us." "I promise," I whispered earnestly, returning his kiss deeply, feeling an overwhelming certainty within me. Our promise felt real and powerful, sealing something precious between us. As Abri walked me to the front door, he paused, pulling me close one more time, holding me tightly as if reluctant to let go. I breathed deeply, memorizing the comforting scent of him, imprinting every sensation into memory. Finally, stepping back, he smiled warmly, eyes sparkling softly with hope. "Call me when you land," he reminded gently, voice warm, reassuring. "And let's plan when we can see each other again. Soon. I promise," I assured him quietly, heart swelling with anticipation and gratitude. "I won't let go of this, Abri. You mean too much already." Walking away from his apartment, every step echoed with the weight of newfound happiness mixed with bittersweet longing. Though leaving was difficult, my heart felt incredibly light, buoyed by the certainty that this wasn't a final goodbye, but rather the start of something truly beautiful. Weeks later, true to our promise, we continued nurturing our connection. Frequent calls, daily messages, and carefully planned visits became our new normal, deepening our bond despite distance. Each reunion filled us with joy, affirming that our relationship had grown stronger because of the distance rather than in spite of it. One evening, sitting comfortably together on my sofa after Abri had flown in to visit, I smiled warmly, fingers intertwined comfortably with his. Our relationship had grown stronger, richer, built on honesty, trust, and genuine affection. Leaning gently into Abri's embrace, I looked up into his soft, affectionate gaze, knowing without question how lucky I was to have found him. "You know," Abri whispered tenderly, brushing soft kisses along my neck and shoulder, "I still can't believe we met because of a reservation mistake." I laughed quietly, tilting my head back to meet his gentle kisses, warmth and happiness flowing through me easily. "Maybe it wasn't a mistake after all," I replied softly. "Maybe fate knew exactly what it was doing." As we shared a tender, lingering kiss, each touch reaffirmed the truth we'd discovered together. Some mistakes weren't accidents at all, but rather the universe guiding us exactly where we belonged. Wrapped safely in Abri's arms, listening to his heartbeat, I finally felt truly at home.